What's up YouTube, Dale here from Zephyr, and today I am bringing you an update that I've been working on for a while. This time is the update for Dino Ryuges. Now, as you know, I'm a massive fan of the Ryuji art type. I also love dinos and the way that the deck operates, so I thought what better yet to update the pair of them together in one fell swoop, thanks to the brand new Ryuji card as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through the video, explain you through the profile, talk you through the cards we've chosen, and then why that they have been specifically chosen, and go from there. So with all of that out of the way, please smash that like button, hit that notification bell, and subscribe so you don't miss out on any more upcoming content. Of course, there is like a pure version of dinos, but I do like the Ryuji and just how aggressive they can be. Unfortunately, you just double down into the weaknesses of both decks, being the Lancia and being something along the line of Drow and Lockbird. But at least with the Ryujis, you have a bit more of an aggressive out that allows you to still flood the field with higher attack stat monsters to then still push for an OTK, even if you are hand-trapped by those particular weak points. So starting off with the dinos themselves, we are going to be on 3 Soul Eating Oviraptor as your main normal summon of the deck. This is like your ideal dino to be going for. This just ticks everything off. And then what the Ryujis kind of provide you with is it gives you more consistency to get to something like a Soul Eating Oviraptor, but also the ability to set out something like a Varudras to protect your dino plays going forward, and gives you more consistency to get you into your miscellaneous and not have to rely on this effect as heavily. For the boss monsters of the dinos too, your Ultimate Conductor Tyranno, I still say to this very day that alongside Blue Eyes Chaos Max, this is still one of the best main deck boss monsters on their own that are in existence. Like, such an incredibly good card and looks amazing as well. Then the one Miscellaneous Saurus, because unfortunately it is only at 1, I have picked up a playset just on the off chance that it comes back. And unfortunately I did get the dinos in Collector's Rare when they first came out, and then obviously they all got upgraded to Quarter Centuries, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to stick with my original Collector's Rare, and luckily I can get a Miscellaneous. The only one you couldn't get in Collector's Rare, which was really annoying, was Baby Serasaurus. I would have loved that to be in a Collector Rare as well. On the one Argusaur, the reason you can play 1 in this particular version is you rely on its effect less. Obviously, it's one of the ones that if you see it, great. Well, technically not see it, but if you don't see it, great. You summon it from the deck through the back of your your Miscellaneous. But then you can double up, and the reason that people will double up is because they'll be playing 2 double Evolution Peel, and they're one of the ones where you want to not see this card. In a 40 card pure version, or even a scrap version, you could arguably play this at 2. With the Ryujis, I feel that because this isn't one of your win con options, and the Ryujis actually let you get multiple different options and a bit more flexibility, you can rely on this a little bit less. The one Giant Rex, and then 3 Baby Serasaurus. I've kept these as super rares. So for those of you unfamiliar with this, Baby Serasaurus came as a Platinum Secret Rare and a Quarter Century Secret Rare, but then it also came as a Secret Rare as a Speed Duel option. Unfortunately, that Speed Duel set was never released in Europe, so it's not actually an officially tournament legal playing card. So if I had this in Secret Rare of the Speed Duel, I wouldn't be allowed to play it here in the EU, which is really kind of disappointing, which is why it's kept as a Super Rare, and which is why I'm really more disappointed that it didn't come as like a Collector Rare as well, which would have been nice, but 3 Baby Serasaurus is all you really need. 3 Fossil Dig, and the 1 double Evolution Peel. Again, because we're not relying on that particular element of the deck as much, sometimes 2 can come up. It is a 45 card deck, so you can go into it a little bit more if you wanted to, or technically it's a 44 card deck, so if you wanted to bump it to 45, by all means put in a second double Evo, or of course put in a second Argusaur. But once you kind of get to Peel and resolve it, you should be winning. The only times that this will falter is if it gets hit with an Ash Blossom, which when you're going through the Ryujis, you should be pulling out an Ash Blossom anyway. And then if they hold back a Lancia specifically for this card, and if they do that, again, you should have the ability to set up a Varudras, so that the later they leave an interaction for double Evo Peel, the more chance you have of ways to protect it. Then for the Ryujis, I'm going to be starting off with the spell card first, just because I really, really like this card. This card's like absolutely insane, but this one will search you out all of your other Ryuji monsters. So you add a Ryuji monster from the deck to the hand, then you can add add a Ryuji monster from your deck to the hand, then you can add a Ryuji Pendulum monster from your hand to your face-up extra deck, which is really beneficial because we've got the brand new Tensei Ryuji ANVA, which I'll talk about once we get to it. The benefit of something like this is now that you have more options, usually you'd want to just go, cool, add the Misva, and then it's an optional to add a Pendulum monster to your from the hand, so you just be like searching out 2 Misfits, and you're like, oh, okay, cool. Whereas now you've got the option to get into the ANVA, and it's just so good. Unfortunately, even though their Pendulum scales are 11 and 0, you can only Pendulum summon Ryujis, which is kind of fair, but it still means that you can actually flood the board with level 10s very easily. It means if they stop the field spell as well, it just gives you a little bit more to kind of go from. So we go with 3 of the Misva. This is like your ideal one to see, because what you need with the Misva is once you're getting into the field spell, which is your Ryuji War Zone, you need to have a Pendulum Monster face up or Ryuji Pendulum Monster face up in the extra deck, or I believe it's specifically Misva actually. Yeah, so if you have Misva, so it has to specifically be Misva. I would have loved it to have been a Ryuji Pendulum Monster, and then this would like double up its usage. But the idea behind this one is this one you put into your Pendulum Scale, you destroy it, and if you do, that's how you're going to search out your War Zone, and then obviously you flood the wars, use the War Zone to get you into your ANVA, your Hackvar, and then you can get into any Dino or the Kyver if you play it, which I do. The idea behind this one is just such an incredibly good card. This is what really kind of gets it ticking. It does get its monster effect when it is destroyed, and by putting it into the Pendulum Zone, searching out is why you want to be able to utilize the Ryuji Rising. You can activate this during the draw phase, which can either set up your Misva and search out your ANVA, or set up your ANVA and search out your Misva. Speaking of which, we're on 2 of the ANVA. Now you can actually play Melody of Awakening Dragon, because Melody of Awakening Dragon lets you discard a card to then add 2 dragons, which these both are, that have more than 2500 attack and less than 25, sorry, I think it's like 3000 or more attack, and then 2500 or less defense, so both of these fit that bill. The pendulum effect of the ANVA is you can't pendulum summon except Ryuji's, pretty much standard. This effect cannot be negated. You can negate your opponent's card or effect in response to the activation of your Ryuji spell card or effect. So if they try to interact with your War Zone, if they try to interact with your Rising, you can pretty much negate it, which is really, really important. Its monster effect is it allows you to tribute 1 Ryuji monster from the hand or field except itself to special summon this card from the hand. So it just increases your consistency to get you into a Varudras. If this card is special summoned, you get to target 1 card in the field and destroy it, so it's more aggressive as well. And if this card is destroyed, you get to place a Ryuji continuous spell or trap from the deck, graveyard, or banishment face up on the field. So it's kind of the recursion that the deck was missing. We're not playing any of the continuous spell cards. They're just really not that effective. They're more of a side deck card that they're more effective if you're going first to set you up with forms of disruption rather than a necessity for going second. For the rest of Ryuji's, we're on 2 of the ANVA, 2 of the Hackvar, and I'm playing the 1 Kyver. Like, you don't have to play the Kyver because you're naturally got plenty of dinos to search out. But the reason I quite like this one is this one has the added, get there eventually, that during the main phase, if 2 or more cards were destroyed this turn, doesn't matter where they were, how they were destroyed, and you do that with dinos by popping babies left, right, and center, Kyver can just summon itself down as a free technical level 10. So if you're able to kind of pop a Ryuji from the hand to get you into the ANVA, and you get your Kyver down, straight away that's your Varudras, and you haven't locked yourself into anything, and you've got that protection you're going to need. The reason you need to double up with the Hackvar and the ANVA is because these are the sea serpents and worms you need to search. Naturally, if you hard open up the Kyver, it's not that big of an issue, but if you only played 1 ANVA or 1 Hackvar and you opened up either of them, it means that the search off the back of the War Zone becomes dead, which is really, really annoying. Speaking of which, 2 of the Ryuji War Zone. So when this card is activated, you take a Dino, Sea Serpent, and a Worm monster from the deck. Add 1 to the hand, banish 1, and send 1 to the graveyard. You can't special for the rest of the turn except Dinos, Dragons, Sea Serpents, or Worms, which is absolutely fine. And if you have a Ryuji Misva in your extra deck, face up, you get to special summon 3 Ryuji monsters with different types. 1 each from the deck, grave, and banishment. So again, more reason to leave a Ryuji in the deck as well. It's going to give you the best benefit of it. But keeping in mind, you don't need to, like previously, you couldn't special summon out Misva, which was really, really annoying. Because obviously it's a ritual monster, but you get to special summon 3 Ryuji monsters with different types. So you can now go, cool, summon out the Hackvar, summon out the ANVA, and then summon out the ANVA as well. So there's loads of different usages for it. The final little monster engine that I'm using, just as a additional extension, additional aggression, and everything else you need, is the 1 Nemesis Flag and Corridor. Like, you don't have to play these. These are just more of a nostalgia because I used to love playing Dino Thunder back in the day when we was able to play like Thunder Dragons at near max capacity and dinos, and these kind of still allow you to facilitate that need, because what you can do is in the extra deck, as there's a little bit of space, you can make yourself into an Infernal Flame Banshee, and remember, obviously do this before you lock yourself with the Ryujis. You'd search yourself out a Nemesis Flag, and the cards that you can start recycling off the back of Nemesis Flag and Corridor will be something like your Miscellaneous Saurus, so you get to recycle that very easily. If you've activated the double evolution peel, you can recycle the material, because usually you'll banish a Giant Rex and then a non-dino. So you can recycle the non-dino, and you can turn the Corridor into a Colossus, and I feel right now, especially with Mitsurugi's, they want to do a lot of searching. Like, people are main decking and siding draw, when now you have the ability, if you wanted to technically main deck a Colossus, which is also technically a draw, but even more annoying. So you don't have to play these, cut these out, push you down to a 42 card deck. It's really easy to do. You got the one-off power play spells in the Call By, Cross Out, and then Pot of Prosperity. You can play Trill Tactic talents as well. Droll is your biggest issue. Lancia, you can kind of play around a little bit, but Droll really does hurt you, and both engines, the Ryujis and the Dinos, want to search out a lot. So that's why you need to max out with the most most options possible, being Cross Out and Call By. And then on the flip side of that as well is when you get into the side deck, you can start playing stuff like Sales Ban, DD Designator, if you really want to slow your opponent down and make sure that they don't droll you. For the hand traps of choice, triple Ash, triple Droll, and triple Flulos. Of course, your Cross Out can obviously act as a target for all three of these, so can Call By the Grave. And only we decided that, or I say we, I decided that Imperm just wasn't that effective to main deck, and I'd much rather play the staple hand trap of the format, in my opinion, being Fluoros, a counter to Fluoros in the form of Ash Blossom, as well as just Ash Blossom being a generically good hand trap, and then Droll and Lockbird being a Floodgate-esque card. So both of these are like Floodgate-esque hand traps, whereas Ash is one of them ones that sometimes it will come up to protect you or disrupt your opponent, whereas Imperm can sometimes disrupt your opponent or protect you, but is more so than not a little less effective. So entirely up to you. Again, adapt it to your playstyle, adapt it to your preference, but this kind of ratio lineup works out for me just for those hand trap staples and everything else in between. So that's it for the entire main deck. Moving on to the extra deck. So for the extra deck, let's start with the Link monsters, as these are the lowest represented next to the fusions, which I'll talk about in a second. So the Link monsters, I'm only playing two in the form of the Relinquished Animar and the SP Little Knight. I've gone more for a heavier XYZs build style of the deck, but you can, of course, very easily play more Links if you wanted to. I don't have my second Varudras to hand, which is why I've opened up the space for the Grenosaurus giant Giga Cannon, which I'll talk about a little bit later on. But the idea is this is where your second Varudras would come into play. We've got the one Thunder Dragon Colossus, as I've already pretty much mentioned on this one. You go Corridor's effect, put back one of your banished monsters, summon down Corridor, and then turn Corridor into Colossus. Again, flexible spot. This could very easily also become your second Varudras should you want to. For the rank 4s, we have the Aggressor in the form of the Giga Cannon. So generic rank 4, but when your Dino monster destroys an opponent's monster by battle and sends it to the graveyard, you detach a material from this card to inflict 1,000 damage to your opponent. Then this card gains 1,000 attacks, so it goes up to a 3,200. If this XYZ summon card is destroyed, you get to target one card on the field and destroy it. And if you do, you inflict another 1,000 damage to your opponent, and you can only use each effect once per turn. So technically, you just ram this into one of your opponent's monsters, destroy it, and you're going to burn your opponent for 2k. Not that you want to be doing that all the time, but it just kind of gives you an option to play around with. Then we do have the one Lagia and Dulka, so all of these work under the lock. Obviously, Colossus, SP, and Relinquished Animar don't, but these are going to be cards you're going to be making a little bit earlier on in your turn, or you're going to be doing it before or after you've already gone through a lock, and it's kind of like the follow-up turn. Lagia and Dulka are pretty standard. If you get hand trapped to death, you go for a Baguska. Daguerreas can actually be a game ender because you can use Daguerreas to bring back an already successfully summoned Ultimate Conductor Tyranno, and then you've got the ability to also allow it to do double its attack. So bring it back, so you skip your battle phase in the next turn, but you double the attack of one monster you control, so you can make your Ultimate Conductor Tyranno 7k. Alternatively, you can also skip your main phase 1 to special on a monster from the graveyard and defense, which can just bring you back an Ultimate Conductor for the grind game. Or you also skip your next draw phase, and if you do, you draw 2 cards and discard a card. Infernal Flame Banshee is literally only in here to get you the flag. There is the option that, I believe if this card is banished, and you control a Pyro monster, you get to special summon this card. So the idea is that if you were to put Flag on the field, for example, have this in the graveyard, and then use your double evolution pill to banish the Banshee, you'd actually be able to bring back the Banshee and the Giant Rex. But very rare that that's going to come up, because then you need more Link monsters to go into, and like I said, we don't really have higher level Link monsters, because you're going to the SP Little Knight, you're going to want to make sure you don't banish a card, because then you can't do, can't attack directly. Which, even though UCT can just attack, defense, send it, burn for a K, attack, defense, send it, burn for a K, like, you're still going to need, like, UCT isn't going to do 8k on its own unless you do, like, piercing battle damage instead. Then for the other XEs, we are playing the one Super Dreadnought Rail Cannon Gustav Max. Again, very easily flexible for a second Varudras. This is the best one you want to go for because it's Worm, it doesn't care about the lock. It's ideal. This is just one of the ones, if you enter a grind state and you've kind of got your 2 level 10s on the field, but then time gets called, you go into a Gustav Cannon and do 2k. Or if you've been able to do enough damage, so for example, in that UCT example like that I was saying, let's say UCT attacks 4 monsters, sends them to the graveyard, burns them for a K, then main phase 2, you use UCT plus a level 10, go into a Gustav Max, burn for an additional 2k. It might not be enough for the whole 8k damage, but that's just an option you have available to you. And it's one of the ones that you'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it. But it is completely flexible. Gaga Cowboy is also another close alternative for time if you need to. And then you play the Galaxy Eyes lineup. If you're playing Ryuji's, you're going to be playing the Galaxy Eyes lineup. It's just too easy to kind of make this line and move everything you need to. And then finally, the one Typhon. Little bit riskier because you don't really want to be turning your Ultimate Conductor Tyranno into a Typhon. But it's just one of the ones that if you're in a very, very simplified game state and you're just able to go, cool, normal summon a monster, don't use the effect, turn into Typhon, kill a card that's going to cause you an issue or return a card that's going to give you an issue, and then move on from there, locking down all of your opponent's high level, high attack monsters, so like Detonators and Amon Makunos, that's when it's going to really be quite helpful for you. And that is pretty much it for the profile. There's loads of different ways you can play dinos, which is what I love about it. As I mentioned at the start of the video, you've got Pure, you've got Scrapped, you've got Ryuji's. There are some other variants online as well that you can check out that kind of show you different versions you can play around with. I personally do like the Ryuji version. I'm still not sold if it's better than the Pure, because within the Pure, you kind of open up the option to play stuff like your Ground Xeno. You can go down like some synchro routes if you wanted to. It opens up the extra deck a little bit more. But for my personal preference, I just like the Ryuji's. I just think they're a really kind of cool style of the deck. And I think that it works out very, very nicely. And being able to kind of like, if you thought that Ultimate Conductor as a boss monster on its own in its own deck wasn't enough, you're like, okay, cool, I'm now going to add Ryuji's to them, which are both going to be coming out as stronger boss monsters as well. So, anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you do have any questions at all, by all means, please put in the comments down below. I'm more than happy to answer them as always. But for now, stay safe. And of course, happy dueling.